Cyrus, welcome to this video. Woo! As you read my title, this is gonna be a Week in a Life video, and that is because a few weeks ago I actually did Week of Wonder once again, and last year I did a Day in the Life video, but I thought, why not this year show Week in my Life of doing Week of Wonder? And that's because I actually went to every day of this, so Monday for Friday of Week of Wonder, and it was a whole lot of fun. Got to see more activities than what I did last year because I only went to like 3 days last year, so it was nice to get to see the whole thing this year, and it was a whole lot of fun. So with that being said, enjoy the video. On Monday and the rest of the week, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And immediately after waking up, I had to stretch and put on my glasses. And after a minute of regretting waking up this early, it was time to get out of bed. And then it was time to make breakfast, and of course I was having eggs. And of course I had to have coffee with my eggs. And just like that, breakfast was done, and it was time to go to my room at 6:30 to have breakfast. And at 6:40, it was time to get ready for the day. At 7, it was time to get ready to leave, so I had to say bye to Chester. And of course, Brownie too, but he was off camera. Finally, at 8:30, I made it to Week of Wonder. And the first thing I had to do as soon as I got there was set up my camera for the day. After my camera was all nice and ready, it was 9 o'clock, and it was time to get started with Week of Wonder. And here's me filming the start of Week of Wonder. And after that, it was 10 o'clock, and it was time for the first activity, which was art. And then at 10:30, it was time for snacks, and I had a bunch of fruit. And at 11, it was time for another activity, and it was games. And at 11:30, it was time for the last activity, which is story time and the close-in. And at 12 p.m., after a long morning doing Week of Wonder, it was finally time to take down my camera. And it was time to leave. After leaving Week of Wonder, I was walking somewhere and I got to see this nice view on this walking bridge. And the reason why I was walking somewhere was because I went to the gym to work out at 1 p.m. After a nice long workout, because I had to do a boys workout after this, it was time for a late lunch at Starbucks at 3:30. At 5:30, we were finally home and I had to pet Chester and say hi to Brownie, who was staring at me on the couch. That's all I got for Monday. Now it's time for Tuesday. Tuesday started out with Brownie Went Attention at 7 in the morning. And at 8, I finally made it to the church. When I got into the church, I found out in the basement we had coffee. So of course I had to get myself some coffee. After getting some coffee, I had to take a look at these paintings that we had. After getting coffee and looking at the paintings, I finally got my camera ready to go for Week of Wonder. And speaking of Week of Wonder, it was time for Week of Wonder to start at 9 o'clock in the morning. And at 9:20, I went to the first activity, which was games. Unfortunately, I can't show the kids playing, but they were playing with this parachute that you can see in this picture. At 9:50, I was on my way to my next activity, and before that, I got this Week of Wonder shirt. What do y'all think? Anyway, I finally made it to my next activity, which was music. A few hours later at 1 p.m., Week of Wonder was over, and I was actually on the tide because instead of going to the gym to work out, I wanted to go to hair the dog, and I got this coffee frozen drink. It was pretty good. And the food I ordered was pancakes, eggs, sausage, and hash browns. AKA the basic breakfast, which was good as well. At 2 p.m., instead of going to Starbucks to edit videos, I actually went to the library, and I had this nice view. Anyway, after checking out the nice view, it was time to start with editing. Hello, guys, and welcome to day 52 of Summer Boyfriend Chenko. And as you could hear from the voiceover, I was still working on the Summer Boyfriend Chenko series. This has since ended. And after 2 hours of editing at 4 p.m., it was finally time to pack up and leave the library. At 5:30, I was able to see Chester, and the reason why we were in the car was because we went to the park, and of course I was walking Brownie, and that's all I got for Tuesday. Now it's time for Wednesday. On Wednesday, first thing in the morning at 6:30, Brownie wanted some attention. And at 8, we made it to Week of Wonder, and I was early. So I messed around with the musical instruments. After Week of Wonder, it was 1:30 and it was time to work out. After working out at 3:30, I went to Raven Street Pizza. I had some mozzarella sticks and pizza. And at 5:30, we made it home and we took Brownie and Chester to the park. And now it's time for Thursday. Thursday I arrived early at 8 o'clock, so I went to this Thursday service we have. It happens at 7:30, but at 8:30 I set up my camera for Week of Wonder. And at 12:30 after Week of Wonder, we had a sandwich at church. After lunch at 1:30, I stayed at the church to edit the video for Week of Wonder. At 4:50, I finally arrived home to see Brownie and Chester being cute, and that's all I got for Thursday, and now it's time for Friday. Friday was the last day of Week of Wonder, and 8:30 I had to set up the laptop for the slideshow that I made. And this is what the art room looks like. And I still have some filming to do because I had to do the closing ceremony. And speaking of the closing ceremony, it started at 11 o'clock. And at 12:30, it was over and I had to pack up everything. After packing up at 1:30, it was time to work out once again. And at 3 p.m., I went to the Japanese restaurant for lunch. And this is what I ordered. And at 5:40, I finally arrived home. And it was time to unpack everything that I used for Week of Wonder. And at 6 p.m., we took Brownie Chester to the park. After that, we went to this place called Longhorn at 7 p.m. and we got some bread. And this is what I ordered. We got home a few hours before 10 from dinner, but at 10 p.m. it was time to go to bed, and that's all I got for this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and now it's time for the outro. Bye. Alright, y'all, that is the end of the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all enjoyed looking at my weekend life doing Week of Wonder. It was a whole lot of fun. As you saw, I was doing camera once again, which was a lot of fun to do. And since I did all 5 days this time, I decided to do weekend life of it. Or, now that I'm thinking about it, it's more like 5 days in life. But I titled the video Weekend Life because it sounds better. I hope to do it again next year because it's a whole lot of fun. I have fun like filming, like with my camera that I'm using for this video right now. Like all the activities that's happening during Week of Wonder and whatnot. And yeah, I feel like I had more fun with this one than I did last year because I went to all the days of Week of Wonder. There's a new activity called Games, and you probably saw that in the video. And when I got done with Week of Wonder, I worked out and did a lot more stuff than what I did last year. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed, and don't forget to keep on signing. Bye!